Well, it is a great sound to hear those engines come to life, and great pictures to see the trucks rolling onto the racetrack here at Gateway. It's been a long and soggy afternoon here in Madison, Illinois. Let's take a look at our track description here at Gateway. The Camping World track description, 1.25 miles, Phil.
Yeah, but we talked about this racetrack, two different unique ends. We've got turns 1 and 2, which is similar to turn 1 and 2 at Phoenix, both banked 11 degrees. This racetrack has a little bit bigger, long, straight back straightaway though, Todd.
Really tough back straightaway because you got to get off at turn 2, and it's hard to get down there. You got to get through 3 and 4, long, sweeping, flat corner. That's where you can carry a lot of speed onto the front straightaway.
There's a look at our Shell race analysis. 160 laps to go, those 200 miles, somewhere between 60 and 65 laps on that pit window.
Yeah, we had a couple guys run out of fuel last year at about 62 and 64 laps.
Driving for Linemen 200, starting lineup looks like this. It's all set by the final practice today, which was only one session because of the rain. As we take a look at row 2, Crafton and Johnny Sauter.
Why don't we see if we can talk to Matt Crafton? Hey, Matt Crafton, Phil Parsons up in the Fox Sports 1 booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
We saw you go out there earlier and check the track. How does it look, bud?
Yeah, they did a really good job of drying this place, so I'm looking forward to put on a good show for these fans that showed up here tonight in St. Louis.
Matt, you've had a great season so far. We just showed a little bit of video of you taking the lead last year and then, cut a tire down. How's that truck for tonight?
I think the Madison tender is pretty good. Like I said, I was real happy with the very first couple runs we did, but after that, Junior made some really good calls, and hopefully built enough adjustability in this thing to be able to run all these laps tonight and be up front.
What do you expect this racetrack to be with all the rain we've had, Matt?
Good question, really, Phil.
Well, I don't know. If you don't know, I don't know.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, we'll find out here real soon.
All right, buddy, thanks.
How about the onboards that we're going to have here tonight? It looks like John Hunter Nemechek will carry 100.
Yeah, such a great run last year. Led a bunch of this race. Just had his 18th birthday just a couple days ago. He will be in this truck full-time the rest of the year, and he's going to start from the 12th spot in his Chevrolet.
On board with Austin Terrio. First time here at Gateway. Said he likes this racetrack, coming off a top 5 finish last week in Texas. Really looking forward to this race.
We just talked to Matt Crafton. We know he can win on the 1.5 miles. He's done that 3 times this year. Can he win on this 1.25 miles? He had a good truck last year. He's going to carry our Toyota on board, and he will be starting from the 3rd spot.
Cole Custer on the outside of the front row. He's got a 16th and a 13th in his 2 races this year. Wants to get that better, get it turned around, get that thing back to victory lane.
Yeah, we hope that camera there stays.
Yeah.
And the nose of that 00 of Cole Custer.
Well, let's get some final thoughts before we turn the pace car lights off. We'll begin with Caitlin.
Well, Ralph, one driver who's been on the rise lately is Daniel Hemrick. He's had 2 top 10 performances in the last 2 races, and this is his first time to Gateway, but they brought the same truck that he had a 4th place finish with at Dover just a couple of weeks ago. Now, I spoke with Daniel earlier, and he says this team is really starting to mesh. He says it's nice to be consistently running well over the last several weeks. And another thing that is on Daniel's side, he's got a little extra confidence after getting a super late model win in Georgia just last weekend. So he's going to be on the hunt for his first Truck Series win here tonight. Now let's check in with Ruby's out.
Well, Caitlin, Daniel Hemrick is one of our up-and-coming drivers with a lot of momentum. One of our veteran drivers who's looking for some momentum tonight is Timothy Peters in that 17 truck. Timothy Peters needs to get his season turned around. If you lay his stats from 2014 over 2015, you can tell he is not stacked up the way he was in 2014. But coming to a racetrack he really likes, he's got 3 consecutive top 10s here, as well as a 3rd place finish here last year. So let's see if Timothy Peters can get to victory lane, or at least a solid top 5 to turn his season around.
Well,
Get down there, guys. 160 laps. Thanks for all the fans hanging around. Awesome team behind us. I think we got a really fast truck. I'll try to do the best I possibly can.
That was Ben Kennedy in the 11. Talking to the crew, getting ready to go racing.
Ben's on a little bit of a roll, a couple top 10s in a row coming into this race.
getting ready. We'll see the 1 to go.
Could be a great sign.
The 08 goes to the rear with a backup, and the 1 as well with an adjustment. So Ryan Ellis and Corbin Forrester, who had that hit at the end during the qualifying session. Just big problems with that truck earlier today. And there's Crafton in that 88. Those top 10 finishes all time. Hoping to see if he can make it 200 here today.
Only the second guy ever to make it to 200. And I would lay odds he's probably going to get a top 10 here.
The way he's been going, he might score top 10s all the way throughout the rest of the season.
Exactly.
If he does that, he's about sure to get this championship. That's what you got to do.
Matt turned 39 just a couple of days ago. We talked a lot about John Hunter Nemechek having his 18th birthday on the same day, the 11th of June. Jennifer Jo Cobb had a birthday as well. Of course,
we're not going to talk about that. Jennifer is, exactly.
Mention the lady's birthday. Here's a look how the season has gone so far. Crafton leading a couple of the big categories, and Eric Jones, even those laps led, wants to see if he can put his name in that victory column.
You often hear the term that sometimes the fastest truck doesn't always win. Well, Eric Jones is the epitome of that statement this year.
Yeah, sure it is.
But between Eric Jones and Matt Crafton, they've led 60% of all the laps this year.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. And they'll probably lead some today, I would think.
Well, here's something I was hoping to have said quite a few hours ago. We were about to go green here at Gateway.
Great crowd on hand, too, for this one.
They've all weathered through the storms, the track drying, and we're ready to go racing here at Gateway. Live on Fox Sports 1 with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Down the back straightaway, Eric Jones will lead him off into turn number 3. Custer in second, and here comes Crafton in third. John Hunter Nemechek in that black 8, hugging the bottom.
Great side-by-side battle for 5th right now. That's the 19 of Tyler Reddick on the outside. See a lot of these cars showing some sparks or low air pressures right now. Tyler Reddick on the outside of Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones in that 33 truck.
There's Reddick in the 19, Jones in the 33. And Todd, by now you know what grip you've got in this racetrack.
Very surprised that first couple laps. The outside groove is really there already. It's got some grip, especially down in 1 and 2.
These guys want to log some laps here, see what their trucks have. Just feel them out a little bit here. We're on low air pressures. Give us a few laps to get these air pressures up a little bit. See Daniel Hemrick going way high there in that bright green truck.
Hemrick running in 10th.
Going to lose a spot to John Hunter Nemechek in the 8 truck.
Lost all his momentum off of turn 2, and that really hurts.
See Cameron Haley in the 13. You caught a glimpse of him. Haley right now is in 8th. And everybody's tucked behind Jones. Continuing to add to the category of laps led for him this year.
Matt Crafton all over the back of that 00 of Cole Custer.
Eric had a pretty big lead here, but Cole and Matt have run him down a little bit.
On board with Crafton. And Todd, you say you can run deeper into 3 if you're chasing a guy than you can down into 1.
Well, you not necessarily can go deeper, but you know, you have to be careful, like I said, how deep you drive it in there, because you can push up. And the problem is when you're behind somebody like this, you get that arrow push, and the truck doesn't want to turn. So it's kind of a catch-22. You see the sparks out of back of Cole's truck. That's the low air pressure Phil was talking about, and the splitter bars are probably dragging the racetrack a little bit.
These corners are so tight and the radius so tight on these corners that if NASCAR would allow these trucks, they would shift just like the Cup cars did at Pocono last week. But the transmission rules, what third gear you have to have, almost precludes you from shifting.
Here comes Hemrick on the 14. He was looking to the inside of Nemechek as we go on board with John Hunter.
John West telling that Zaxby's truck right in front of them. John West right now running in the 9th spot.
It'll be a different night for John Hunter and Nemechek. Oh, here comes Hemrick up the inside as they go into 3. And they've got the 23 of Gallagher right there with them.
Daniel Hemrick, that 14 truck right down on the bottom, using those rumble strips to help that truck turn a little bit.
John Hunter on the outside held his own, though. That outside groove is in 3 and 4 also. That's a good sign for later in the race.
Looks like he's going to use that line. He's intentionally moving up there. You see Daniel Hemrick tried to get his nose underneath him, but John Hunter had the momentum up off the corner.
That's exactly right, Phil. That's what that does. When you can run that, the guy on the inside can get there, but you have so much momentum on the outside that he's not going to be able to stay there.
John Hunter was hoping to have his dad, Joe Nemechek, working as his spotter tonight, but Joe is actually working on the MRN radio broadcast. So Gene Kennan, who's the crew chief, is going to be the spotter, and he's going to call the race, but he's going to have to do it, or Jerry Kennan, I should say, from up top at the spotter stand. So it's a bit of a challenge because you can't really see the tires when they come off the truck, get a good look at them. You're going to have to rely on the crew to tell you some information.
But you can see the racetrack. I think that's a great place for the spotter to be as we ride along with John Hunter in this onboard. And the guys can relate to him what the tires look like, but I think it's a great idea to have the spotter as the crew chief up top.
Jerry's got some very strong people down in the pit area. Like Phil said, they can relay that up to him. Jerry's been around the sport a long time, and like Phil said, he can help John Hunter.
Here's the battle for second. Still Custer and Crafton, and they've now lost some time to our race leader, Eric Jones.
Yeah, Eric Jones has opened up almost a second right now on this battle for second. Matt Crafton had the fastest lap that last lap around, about a half a tenth faster than Eric Jones. Let's see what happens this lap.
Crafton taking the Tundra down a little bit lower, seeing if he can push his way past the Silverado of Custer.
Yeah, that time Eric Jones a full tenth and a half faster than the second fastest truck.
We see Cole, he's struggling a little bit, Phil. I think that truck they started it free. We didn't know what this racetrack was going to do, and he's got his hands full. That truck is really loose on him.
Talking to a lot of the crew chiefs in the garage here, and they really felt like as we see Matt Crafton move to the inside in the battle. Look at the split. Norm Benning.
They split Benning, go right by him, and Crafton's going to take advantage of it on the bottom, and he's going to put that Tundra right down there and take over second place.
Matt Crafton sees that Ford truck as his nemesis really from this year. Those two guys have dominated this season, even though Matt has the victories we talked about. He doesn't want to let him get too far away.
Absolutely. If he can keep him in sight this whole race and just race with him, even if he doesn't get the win this race, that's what he's got to do to keep these guys from pulling away, from catching him into points, is they got to run race for race with each other.
How about Johnny Sauter, guys? He's chased down the 00 of Cole Custer.
Here's how it played out as they caught up to Norm Benning, and Crafton dives to the bottom.
Yeah, Matt had a lot of momentum up off of 4. Looked like Cole was struggling a little bit up on exit.
Cole got a little loose right through the middle. That left the bottom open for Matt, and he took advantage of it.
Here's the view from Cole.
Listen to Cole play with the throttle a little bit. You hear him have to pedal that throttle, and when he did, you could see the momentum that Matt had.
That's all it took for Matt to be able to get that run on him.
Meanwhile, Eric Jones continues to lead, and the lead has grown a little bit, and here comes Sauter. Sauter now up to third in the number 98. Hermie Sauter looks like he's got a fast racetrack here tonight.
Ralph, this is the most excited I've seen and talked to Johnny Sauter at a racetrack in quite some time. He really felt like his truck was capable of competing, running up front, and having a chance to win. Very happy with the momentum coming off a good finish last weekend at Texas. He radioed his crew chief, Doug George, on lap number 8 that the truck was free. But since then, the truck has been slowly getting better and better. He's now in third, eyeballing his teammate, Matt Crafton.
Well, he's had 3 starts at Gateway. His worst finish here, a 4th a year ago. His best, a 2nd in 2009. We'll see if he can improve on that and pull it into victory lane a little later on this evening. We'll be back for more live coverage from Gateway after this. Join NASCAR as we salute our veterans and active military members using hashtag NASCAR Salutes or visiting NASCAR.com/salute. Back here at Gateway, it has been Eric Jones out front since we've got this race underway. Not unusual for the season. What is unusual is being able to say that Eric Jones is leading at the end of the night.
Certainly at all 18 laps here. Continues to run some of the fastest laps on the racetrack. Sometimes he gets caught in a little bit of traffic, and some of the other guys are able to run their faster laps. But very, very good race truck here for that Toyota.
Coming off a season worst finish at Texas, 15th.
Great battle heat.
Oh, man, did you see Reddick in the 19? And with that move, he's going to lose the spot there as the 33 of Jones is going to move up in front of him and take over 5th. And Reddick shaking that truck back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know what he thinks is wrong. I think he just got in the corner too deep. I mean, that was close. When you get in there, and here we go.
He's just going to drive in the corner too hard. Just drives up on the 0-0. And has to actually avoid him there because, again, you use about all the brake you've got going in there. Then he got up in the loose stuff, so that's what he was doing down the backstretch. He's trying to clean his tires off.
He ran that Broken Bow Records truck way deep down in there.
Lost that spot to Brandon Jones and then lost a lot of ground. He allows Cameron Haley, that 13 truck, to pull up on his rear tailgate.
Of course, Reddick with lots of experience racing sprint cars and late models on dirt.
Well, we've seen him sideways a lot. Yeah. We've seen him sideways a lot, and normally he saves that thing.
Not going to intimidate him, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure.
So Jones now is 2.5 in front of Crafton as we watch this battle for 6th with Reddick, Haley, and Matt Tift in the 51 this week.
Matt Tift has really done a nice job this year. Couple top 10 finishes, had a top 10 in his debut with Kyle Busch Motorsports back at Charlotte. Also finished at Martinsville in the top 10 driving for the Venturinis.
And he's got Ted Musgrave working as his spotter who has 2 wins here.
Yeah, the only guy that's won more than one race here, Ted Musgrave. Right. And he dominated this race a couple times driving for Ultra Motorsports.
Good battle back here, door to door. That's going to separate as we get over into turn number 1, and Tift is going to clear him.
Matt Tift up to the 7th spot now.
Cameron very wisely got out of that spot.
Nemechek on the backside of Haley here as they go down the back stretch. Going to see a lot of those trucks with those yellow stripes on the back here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of rookies here. Good advantage, though, for the rookies. They were able to get an extra set of tires for practice, which is one thing that NASCAR does for the rookies since there's really not a whole lot of testing that they're able to do. See that 8,500 RPMs, over 160 miles an hour down in the corner. Trying to stay off the tailgate of that 13.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you were talking about earlier today. It is a short track, if you will, but it races and feels more like a speedway with the speeds that you run.
Yeah, I think it races and feels, and Todd can say better, races more like a short track, but with high speed.
Exactly. You have that speed at the end of the straightaway, and that's what we saw with Tyler Reddick. I think he just misjudged. What happens a lot of times, there's a spot in the racetrack going into the first turn that you use as a braking point. And you're looking at the racetrack, and when you're behind a truck and you don't see that spot, you miss it and you brake too late, and I think that's probably what happened.
Cameron Haley loses another spot to John Hunter Nemechek.
This is the guy to keep your eyes on here. Sauter on that 98, Hermie. He's still sitting there in 3rd, but he's 3 seconds back.
Yeah, Ralph, he's pretty much stabilized right in the 3rd position. We're still not quite halfway through a fuel run, but he's already communicating with his crew chief, Doug George, about how to make this truck better.
Right rear just feels on top of the track. Go rear side blade on exit. And 4-5, he gets track bar back down.
That's going to be the adjustment when the 98 comes down pit road, 4 tires, and they're going to lower the track bar on the right side to try to give him more lateral grip on the exit of these corners.
Lowering that track bar down, that's exactly what it does. It gives side bite in the rear of the truck. You know, these things want to slide. The back end's out, they're loose. you know, we didn't know which way this racetrack was going to go, and obviously it looks like everybody's a little too free, but that's a great adjustment. It's an easy adjustment too.
Our top three drivers, Jones, Crafton, and Sauter, have a combined average finish of 5th so far this season.
Yeah, they've only had 2 finishes worse than 11th this year among the 3 of them. This battle's closing up here a little bit for the lead. Matt Crafton's closed to within about 0.8 of a second. He was almost 2 seconds behind here about 6-7 laps ago.
Yeah.
We see that the 2 different lines right there through the corner, Phil. Eric's about a half a groove higher than Matt. That means Eric's a little bit free, and Matt's truck is really good running right around the bottom. Good and snug, getting some good forward drive.
That's Timmy Hill in the 94 that these guys are going by on the inside. 33 here of Jones. Custer giving us the onboard look here down in the bumper.
Zeke Cole's not able to keep that Chevrolet down as well as the 33 of Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones made the pass on Cole Custer a few laps ago to take over that 4th spot.
Hill, by the way, is running in 23rd as they move their way through the field. We'll be back to see if Crafton can catch Jones here at Gateway. Back here at Gateway. The action starting to pick up out on the racetrack. If you take a look at our Ford facts, 13 different winners in 14 races held here. Just the 15th time. The trucks have been racing here at Gateway. Ted Musgrave, as we mentioned earlier, who's here spotting tonight, the only driver to have won here twice. And we will have a first-time winner here tonight. Nobody in the field here for the winner.
That's right along in this Ford EcoBoost onboard for Austin Theriault. Right now, Austin is back in the 16th spot, but he's a full 25 seconds behind our leader, Eric Jones. Eric has been setting a pretty torrid pace. Matt Crafton able to keep pace with him, but Johnny Sauter now has found himself over 5 seconds behind in 3rd.
And you can see he's ticked off another 10th or 2 from where we were. We went to commercial break. And Todd, a lot of that had to do because they went through a big pack of traffic.
Yeah, Eric got tangled up with some lap trucks a little bit, and Matt got through him a little faster. I mean, that's where he gained that little bit. But lap for lap, their times have been pretty comparable.
Good exit there for Matt Crafton. Looks like he gained a little bit on Eric Jones. Now within about 4 truck lengths. He was 0.6 of a second behind. This lap he gained 1/10 and a half.
Oh, look at the 51 at Tiff closing up on Reddick. That's back in 7th position. And you know who just gotten through those 2 is John Hunter Nemechek, and he really seems to be moving too. He's up in 6th, and he's pulled away from those 2 already.
Yeah, when we went away to commercial break, he was behind both these guys. These guys now battling really hard. Matt Tiff trying to get underneath the 19 of Reddick. But John Hunter is on the move for sure.
You know, we talk about this place driving like a short track, feeling like a short track. You can still get up on the back of somebody and get them really loose, and I think that's what Matt's trying to do. I mean, Tyler's really loose anyway, and here he goes. He run up the track a little bit, gave Matt the run underneath.
Matt's going to be in position here when he gets down in the corner. Drives it hard down in turn number 1. Reddick gives up that spot. Move tipped up to 7th.
37 laps into this race, Phil, and I'm surprised that these guys, the trucks haven't tightened up any more than we have. We've seen a couple of these guys that the track came to them a little bit, got a little tighter, and they've moved up. John Hunter is one of them.
Well, we asked Matt Crafton what the track was going to do, and he said he didn't know.
He had no idea.
John Hunter has now caught Custer, and the battle is on for 5th here, Caitlin.
Well, Cole Custer started 2nd. He has dropped down into 5th. He had a lot of confidence coming back to this racetrack based on how he performed here a year ago. But the biggest feedback he is giving is he is too loose, struggling in 3 and 4. The team told me likely on the next pit stop they're going to have to do an air pressure and wedge adjustment to try and get that 0-0 running better for Cole Custer.
A lot of movement in the steering wheel that time. See, John Hunter is going to try to get that 8 truck on the inside of Cole Custer. He's there.
He's got the position.
You got him by fenders.
Down along the bottom goes John Hunter Nemechek, and he moves up another spot. Slot him now into 5th.
38.
Good move by John Hunter. Started back in the 12th spot, already up 7 positions to the 5th spot.
Spoke with him earlier this afternoon, and he was extremely confident coming back here to Gateway.
With the run that he had here last year, he should be confident. This kid, he did a great job last year. He had a shot to win this race for sure, and unfortunately cut a left rear tire down. But when you come back to a racetrack after a performance like that, it's nothing but confidence coming here.
Here's Crafton closing in on Jones, and look, he sliced it down to 0.3 of a second.
I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here pretty soon here. Again, we're about probably 15 to 20 laps from the first pit stop. Remember, we have warm-up on pit road as well as pace laps. Once they get going, we feel like they can go probably in excess of 60 to 65 laps. He shifted. You hear that?
I did hear that.
I think when the pace slowed down enough, that brought him into his range where he shifted. So maybe that's why Matt Crafton is moving in on Eric Jones. He's using that third gear in that transmission.
That's Travis Quapple in the black and orange 50.
Still out there, clear.
He lost a 10th on that one. As they continue to make their way through the field. Quapple was running at 18th. Our leaders have lapped past him here at Gateway. Tomorrow, NASCAR Sprint Cup racing is in Michigan with the Quicken Loans 400 as Jimmy Johnson looks to defend his title from last year. Coverage begins tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. Here's a look at the front row. It'll be Casey Kane leading the pack to the green. Kevin Harvick alongside. It's Casey's 27th career hole.
Bit of an upset. Kevin Harvick led the first 2 rounds of qualifying, and Casey Kane just nosed him out there for the 3rd round.
That's the round that counts.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
This has been a battle that has been going back and forth. Eric Jones has led every single one of the 47 laps we've run here. Crafton has been with as close as, 0.2 of a second behind, and now it's back to about 5 tenths.
Like a yo-yo. He gets within 2 or 3 tenths, and then he loses a couple tenths.
Kalen Eric Jones, however, looks awfully strong in that 4 truck.
He has been strong all race long, but as we approach possibly the first set of pit stops, he's been giving some feedback to his team on what he thinks can make that 4 machine even better.
Way to right center exit. 7 tight center and exit both ends.
They've actually brought the same truck this weekend that they raced at Martinsville and finished 3rd with, and it's already showing some really good speed here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of the guys were talking about maybe the racetrack tightening up a little bit. We used to have a rule of thumb that at nighttime the racetracks would loosen up. But a lot of the talk now is with the generation of tires that Goodyear's bringing, that these racetracks actually get a little bit tighter with the aero package and the suspension package that these guys are using now.
Now we heard Eric say that he was a 7 tight. That's on a scale of 1 to 10. To me, a 7 tight is plowing. It's just not going to turn. And I'm sorry, Eric, but I don't think it's plowing. You're running pretty good right now. Maybe it's too tight, but I don't know about a 7. But I think he's trying to tell his crew chief, hey, we got to free this thing up.
Well, that's where the crew chief and the driver have to learn their ways of communicating, right? That crew chief has to understand what a 7 is for Eric Jones. Might be different than a Todd Bodine or a Phil Parsons.
It's very true, Ralph. A crew chief, the driver they have their own language back and forth, and that you're right. That's probably what it is.
Guys, as we watch this great battle for 9th, and don't forget now, we've run 7 races already, and they've bled over 1/3 of the laps in this race. Now we add 50 laps to that, though, so those guys have a pretty good communication going, I think.
They got it going on. There's no doubt about it.
51 of the scheduled 160 completed, and this is the longest green flag stretch we've ever had to start a race here at Gateway.
Remember last year we had an early caution, but a lot of people stayed out on that caution, and we had trucks start running out of gas when we got past 60 laps here. We actually had a caution because the truck ran out of gas and stalled on the racetrack.
As we showed earlier in the broadcast, 60 to 65. Roughly the window for pit stop.
Yeah, this first one probably will be a little sooner because of the pace laps and things like that. And some people, they aren't sure about their fuel mileage. They'll know better after this first stop. So I think we might see guys be a little bit hesitant to try to go 60 to 65 laps. They may start coming probably as soon as 55 or something like that, I would guess.
Caution! Boston. 2 trucks around.
Justin Boston, the 54 truck, left side of your screen. Look at the damage on that Rock Mobile Toyota. And Mason Mingus, the 15 truck, also involved. These guys were racing around the 15th spot. A lot of damage to the back of Billy Boat Motorsports.
Yeah, they were running
Chevrolet.
at 14th and 15th at the time. The 54 just in front of the 15.
Tough break for Justin Boston. He came in here, I think, 3 of the last 4 races with top 10 finishes.
Well, I hesitated to give you that one note about the longest stretch of green flag because it's inevitable once you say that, right?
That happens a lot. But tough break. You see Mason Mingus able to drive away, but I don't think they're going to be driving that 54 truck away anytime soon. Actually, 4 of the last 5 races, Justin Boston had top 10 finishes. Here we go. They've already made some contact. You see Mason Mingus getting to the outside wall, and then the 54 of Justin Boston also into the outside wall. Look, top of your screen here. They've already made contact. Mason Mingus already in the outside wall, then Justin Boston a little bit farther around the corner into the outside wall as well.
Of course, Bubba Wallace drove that 54 to victory here a year ago, and Justin was kind of hoping he'd maybe carry a little bit of that momentum with him here tonight.
Well, I'm going to venture a little guess here what happened right here. I think Mason was pushing Boston a little bit. You know, he was giving him some fits there, and he probably tried to outbrake him getting into 1. And, you know, it's hard to do. You get in a little too deep, and if Boston came down, cut him off, and there you go.
That was a brand new truck they built for Mason Mingus to bring here. Take a look from the Ford EcoBoost. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. That's typical of this racetrack, especially turn 1, because you want to outbrake the guy getting in there, and you just can't do it, you know. And as far back as Mason was, you know, Justin Boston, he didn't. The spotter obviously felt like he was far enough ahead that he wasn't gonna have an issue.
And they were feeling a sense of urgency because they were the next trucks to go a lap down. So I'm sure Mason Mingus wanted to try to get in front of Justin Boston to put a little bit of a cushion in between him and Eric Jones, who was marching in on them.
Yeah, Eric and Matt were really setting a tough pace, a torrid pace. They were putting down some laps. They had almost a straightaway lead on Johnny Sauter in 3rd. So they were running strong, and you're right, Phil. There is a sense of urgency. You don't want to get that lap down before your first pit stop.
It's a timely caution flag for a lot of these guys. We've already completed 54 laps, so we were then 2 or 3 laps of these guys coming in. You see pit road. That's the commitment line all the way back over in turn number 3. You have to run this access road all the way around the pit road, so you have to commit very early on there at the end of the backstretch.
And all those lead trucks making their way onto pit road. They'll take advantage of this opportunity. Here's Jones, Kraft, and Sauter. They're all heading in. We'll begin our coverage on pit road with the stop of the 98 of Sauter, and Hermie, you've got them. Here they come.
Ralph, last time we heard from Johnny Sauter, he said his truck was loose. Now it's too tight. He needs front grip. They're going to take air pressure out of both front tires and the left rear to try to get the 98 more grip. Caitlin.
Well, Matt Crafton told me after practice they changed a ton on this truck, and he still isn't completely satisfied with it. He says it's tight through the center and off. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for that 88 machine. The race leader, Eric Jones, also in the pits. He has been struggling with a tight car center on exit, so they're going to do a wedge adjustment to try and loosen up that 4 machine for him. 4 tires, and the 88 wins the race off of pit road.
And a terrible stop for Sauter.
Yeah, over 22 seconds for Johnny Sauter, but what great work by Matt Crafton. And now you understand why they flew the pit crew that they normally use over here from Michigan for a pit stops just like that for that 88 truck.
Made a difference. We've got a new leader here at Gateway. We'll be back to green when we return.
What an amazing field of golfers they're going to have on that very, very challenging golf course, too.
It's going to be incredible to watch. Well, we have a new leader here at Gateway Motorsports Park, Matt Crafton in the 88. His pit crew did a tremendous job. Gained him a spot, put him in front of Eric Jones, who had led every lap prior to the yellow. The guy who got the worst of it, Todd, is in that 98.
Yeah, he's really lucky that he only lost one spot. Well, we see the jack man put the jack up, and the shock held the tire on the right rear high enough to get the tire off. But by the time the shock let the rear end down, it wasn't high enough to put the tire on. Cost him a lot. Luckily, it was only one spot.
Sauter lucky, he'll have to fight his way back when we go back to green here at Gateway. Stay with us. It's all brought to you by Golden Corral. Just about done cleaning up the situation over between turns 1 and 2. And we should be back underway here with our NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race from Gateway Motorsports Park. Round number 8 for the 2015 season.
These guys had an opportunity to work on these trucks a little bit. We heard some guys talking about, most of the guys talking about being a little bit too snug. You know, Johnny Sauter's truck started out a little bit too loose and then switched over a little bit snug. Eric Jones was talking about his truck being a 7 tight, middle of the corner and off. So these crew chiefs have had an opportunity to work on these trucks, and we'll see what we're going to have here when we restart this thing.
Justin Boston has been released from the care center, and the 36 of Justin Jennings has made its way to the garage.
We saw Cole Custer. He was fighting just the opposite. Terrible, terrible loose. So we'll see if Joey Shear got that thing tuned up for him.
Cole Custer running back in 6th place, the Chevrolet onboard camera.
Good pit work by his guys, gained some spots on that pit stop. Dale Jr. flew his guys over from Michigan to pit that truck.
Let's go back down pit side. Here's Caitlin once again.
With Matt Crafton's crew chief, Junior Joyner. And let's talk about the race so far, how you're feeling about the truck and maybe what you've been working on.
I think it's pretty good. We'll just see how it is here in clean air. We're going to have a good restart. And it looks like a 2-horse race right now, but I'm sure some guys will figure it out.
Thank you, Junior.
Yeah, it sure does. So far it's been Crafton and Jones, but Sauter was great until the pit stop. We'll see if we can get the 98 back up there. Now Tift has been picking his way off, and he's moved himself up there into the top 3 now.
Yeah, good pit work, too, to get that truck out in 3rd. Matt Crafton now has led more laps this year than any other year in his career, and this is the 8th race.
I mean, that's just a remarkable stat, isn't it?
What a year. After coming off back-to-back championships.
Yeah. Lights are off the Camaro pace car, and we're about ready to go.
Could be really interesting on this restart here. Matt Crafton chose the inside. We've seen the outside do pretty well on some of these restarts in the past.
Last year at this race, Bubba Wallace started the last restart in 2nd, but he was on the outside. He passed for the lead, and that's what won him the race. So we'll see here. I don't know if this is a good decision or not. I think the outside can carry that momentum in 1 and 2.
Well, here we go.
Pit car's off. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. On you.
Back to green here at Gateway.
When Matt brought him down really slow, it looked like.
That outside is working great. Look at Jones.
Remember, he's got fresh tires now. If you're ever going to make it work, it's going to be right after a restart. And man, did he make it work.
That's exactly what Bubba did on that last restart last year.
Apparently Jones watched our coverage.
How about Tyler Reddick jumps to the inside of Matt Tift to take over 4th, going after Sauter.
Sauter just in front of him on the 98. Puts himself back up to 3rd after the frustratingly slow pit stop. And Reddick looking solid in the blue 19.
See a lot of different lines there in the front four trucks.
Looks like Doug Randolph made some adjustments on that 19 truck. It looks like it's better than it was that first run of the race.
This is the telltale to me down here in 3 and 4. If your truck rotates through the middle, just like Tyler just did, Johnny's truck pushed up a little bit, and he got a little bit of run on him right through the middle of the corner.
Looked like Tyler was using the rumble strips down there to help that truck turn. Now he's up off the rumble strips a little bit down here on this end of the racetrack.
I tell you what you can do in 1 and 2 is you can run up a little high and turn it through the middle and get a better run off.
Just get a little straighter shot up off the corner.
Shot, a little faster run.
Watching the battle for 13th here between Gallagher and Feria, the 23 and the 29. On board with Austin.
It's the Ford EcoBoost on board for Austin Theriault. Top 5 finish last week at Texas. You see that truck get a little bit out of shape on that rumble strip.
Well, we saw Spencer Gallagher right in front of him run over the rumble strips, and he got really out of shape. You can use those things to...
Theriault loses the front end a little bit.
Here comes Ben Kennedy in the 11.
Had to chase it up the hill. Yep, had to chase it up the hill. Lost some momentum.
He's going to pull right up alongside, and Austin's going to have his hands full as they go down into turn 3.
Wheel, at the wheel, still there. Still there, wheel, coming back.
Good run through the center of the corner for Ben. Look at them side by side up here. There's Timothy Peters, that red and white truck on the outside. Cameron Haley on the inside as these guys continue to go side by side.
Kennedy backed off a little bit earlier, but he's trying to get back on the gas quick.
Nice comeback numbers.
Got a good drive off the corner. Inching his way up alongside.
Ben Kennedy got the free pass when the caution flag came up, put him back on the lead lap, and he's trying to make the most of it right here.
Austin Theriault is hanging tough on the outside, Phil. That is really hard to do. Doing a great job of not overdriving the truck.
Again, down into 1, and Austin's able to go just a hair deeper, but look at how quick Ben gets back on the gas.
He went a hair deeper, but it also pushed up in the middle. Yep. That's what allowed Ben to get back under him.
Caitlin, he's looking pretty good in that 11 right now.
That 11 is actually a brand new truck that is a new addition to the Red Horse Racing lineup, and the biggest feedback he's given to his team is loose on entry, center, and exit, and that's what they're going to try and work on. They did do a track bar adjustment on that last stop to try and get that truck tightened up a little bit to Ben's liking.
They've got the 50 of Travis Quapple joining them in this fight as well, in the black with the orange. Kennedy clears him now, and Ben takes over in that 14th position. Here's the fight for 5th. This one between Matt Tift in the 51 and Brandon Jones, right behind him in the 33.
We saw Matt Tift in that first run of the race really get better as that run wore on. Right now, still in pretty good shape up here in the 5th spot, but Brandon Jones looks like he's got a pretty good truck. Who's some trouble for Corbin Forrester. The 08 looks like, is it left front tire down, or is that it? Yeah, left front tire definitely down. NASCAR officials will take a look at the racetrack to make sure none of that rubber is out on the racetrack. Tough. It's been a tough day and night for Corbin Forrester.
Sure has. He was running in 28. Hermie, tell me something about the 33.
Well, Ralph, he came down pit road for his pit stop, and he was fighting a tight condition. Crew Chief Shane Huffman made some adjustments to this truck, air pressure to get him to roll the center better. The other comment Brandon has been making is the truck gets better the closer to the front he gets. Traffic has been an issue with this truck. So as he makes his way up to the rear bump of the 51 of Matt Tift, trying to get into that top 5, and the cleaner the air he can get, the better that truck will run for the 33.
I spoke with Brandon before this race, and that's one thing that he said that he's having a little bit of an issue getting used to is the aero of these trucks. He said he struggled with it last week. He was really surprised how much aero affected his truck here. So obviously, the closer to the front he's getting, the better his truck is becoming.
Brandon, one of the 14 drivers making their first start here tonight at Gateway.
And a lot of drivers in the garage were talking about that clean air. Eric Jones has led every green flag lap of this race. Matt Crafton was able to get the lead back by virtue of his pit stop. He led those laps under caution. As soon as we restarted, that 4 of Eric Jones was able to get the lead back, and he's got that clean air right now. And they say these trucks really love that clean air.
Eric Jones, the 7th driver to reach 450 laps led in the first 8 races of the season. The other 6 all had wins, however, in their first 8 races.
little bit of a wiggle that time by Eric Jones.
He said he was a 7 tight. Rudy must have gave him an 8 looser.
Matt Crafton pulls right up on the tailgate. You see how much momentum he lost, but what a good run through the center of the corner that time down at that end of the racetrack.
I'd say Eric probably drove in there a little bit easier so that he didn't get that thing sideways and could get back to the throttle. And like I said, this place is one of those racetracks that's so easy to overdrive. You drive it in 5 feet too far, and it's just not going to turn. It's going to get loose.
That's Rudy telling him to work with his fans to try to adjust the. That's one thing a driver can do, obviously, other than change his line, is work with his fans and try to cool the tires off individually.
Crafton in 10th or 2 up and down as he closes in on Jones. And the battle continues between these two. They have been this way for the majority of this race, chasing each other for the lead. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is working its way to the halfway point here. And the caution has come out due to debris in turn 4, our second caution of the night. At the halfway point.
We saw right there, Eric had a little problem with these lap trucks, and Matt had gotten right back up on his bumper.
I think they'll definitely stop here. It's been 25 laps since their last pit stop, so that's, it's about 40% to a full fuel run. So I think they're definitely going to stop. We know that they started out this race with 3 sets of tires in the pits. This will be their second set. When the 80 laps to go, I think they definitely come in now, put that second set on Todd, and gives them another set for the end of the race, but it buys them 25 laps of fuel.
The other thing you got to be thinking about is that restart too. We saw what happened when Crafton put Jones to the outside. If I'm Eric, I'm thinking probably I'm going to the outside, right?
Well, we got to see who wins the race off pit road first.
Well, that too, yeah. That too.
Matt Crafton, is he going? If he wins a race off pit road,
he might not go to the bottom this time.
He might not go to the bottom this time. Travis Quapple, we saw him battling with some of those lead lap trucks. He will be the recipient of the free pass. We'll have 16 trucks on the lead lap for this restart. We give the crew chiefs another opportunity to adjust on these trucks.
Yeah.
These tires are wearing really good, Phil. I wonder if we'll see some 2-tire stops.
We might right here with only 25 green flag laps, probably less than 23 or 4 green flag laps on this set of tires. We may see some from some guys back maybe around 10th. I wouldn't do it, I don't think, necessarily if I was up in the top 5.
The guys that are back trying to get some track position, because we talk about all the time, track position is key. You got
clean air.
Clean air. Closer to front you get, the better it is.
John Hunter Nemechek, Custer, Jones, drivers like that, 6th, 7th, 8th.
They might gamble now.
They might go for it.
Knowing they can put 4 tires on the next time.
Yeah.
Remember that commitment is way over there in turn 3 at the end of the backstretch. You see the 4 of Eric Jones. He's coming. Is Crafton staying out? Crafton is staying out.
Stays out.
Wow.
Sauter's coming in. Now remember, Sauter had a terrible stop and he lost a spot. We'll see if he can get a little bit quicker pit stop this time around.
I think Matt Crafton may be the only guy that stays on the racetrack. We know he gets great fuel mileage. I'm pretty sure he can't run 80 laps though, Todd.
No, he's the only lead lap truck stayed out.
All right, Hermie, Sauter needs a much better stop this time.
As he rose to his pit stop, they still have not really decided 2 or 4 when they came on pit road. They talked about putting 2 right side tires on this truck, trying to keep some of this track position. The truck's a little bit too loose on the beginning of a run, and he is down the way to be 2 tires for Sauter. Okay.
Well, Eric Jones, the race leader, has complained about still being too tight in 3 and 4, so they have elected to come down pit road. They're changing, looks like 4 tires on this truck, and also making an air pressure adjustment as well for the 4 machine of Eric Jones. And the 19 wins the race off pit road.
We're going to see how that 4 truck reacts in some dirty air, because he's going to restart this race about 6th.
Well, we'll see if the gamble by Crafton was the right one. Well, it was maybe the big biggest gamble of the night. Matt Crafton stayed out while the rest all made their way to pit road. Caitlin, what's his crew chief said?
Well, I'm joined by Junior Joyner now. And Junior, what prompted the decision to stay out, and were you surprised with how many guys who decided to come down pit road?
I think maybe our weatherman sees something that no one else does. No, I didn't expect that many guys to come right there. We'll be fine. No one can make it here to the end, so we'll just see. I'm sure it's setting up for some 2 at the end, but we got a really good truck, so I just want track position, and we'll see what happens in the end.
Junior Joyner still feeling confident in that 88 group tonight, guys?
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. You know, he's on 25 lap older tires. He's got less fuel than everybody. He's over 40% to the fuel run. I just don't come in, put fuel in 2 tires like we saw a lot of them do.
As we get ready to go to green, just so you know, our crew in the truck doesn't see anything on the radar. Here's the green flag, and we're racing.
Look at that truck smoking.
Oh, man.
To the 53.
That was Reddick having issues on the start.
And the 33 is smoking. Looks like engine oil smoke.
There's a good look at the 33 of Jones. Nemechek trying to work his way past.
That's Daniel Hemrick right in front of him, that green number 14 truck.
Brandon Jones might have run in the back of somebody and pushed the fender in on a tire film.
And here comes Eric Jones. 5th right now. Here's a look at the restart.
No, the 33's already smoking even before they get ready to go.
Yes,
but the 19 looks like he misses a shift. We've seen that happen before. Then he makes contact, but he was already smoking before he ran into the 19.
And look at Jones was right there, Eric, and he has to shove his way down to the bottom, and it looks like he rubbed up a little bit on John Hunter Nemechek. That could have been disastrous for the guy who had led the most laps here tonight.
Reddick trying to find his way back. That's John Hunter on the inside of him. They're following Daniel Hemrick.
There goes Reddick by. John West Tanley in here as well.
There's Timothy Peters, the white and red truck right there. Spencer Gallagher, that blue and yellow truck, number 23, behind Timothy. Here's a good side-by-side battle for the 3rd spot.
And here comes Jones. Wow, like a rocket to the inside.
Remember, he may be the only guy that got 4 tires on that pit stop. Certainly the guy that started closer to the front with 4 tires.
And here's a look at Reddick's truck as he is right behind Peters.
Austin Terrio doing a real nice job right now, hanging on to the 5th spot. Chad Kendrick, crew chief, got him a little bit of track position. Looks like that truck's a little bit better, too. Keep an eye on this 19. Look, he's going to try to go around the outside of Hemrick. He gets up a little bit too wide. Pretty fortunate that he didn't get up in that loose stuff and get into the outside wall.
Got up in the gray there, Phil, and it's not like dirt racing. You don't get up against the cushion and get some grip. It's slippery up there.
That smoke is still pouring out of the 33 of Jones as we're on board right behind him here. That's with John Hunter Nemechek and Hemrick on the outside in that green and orange 14.
We saw the smoke coming out of the left front of the 33, so it's obviously something up by the motor that's leaking.
And it's all the way around the racetrack, that truck's smoking too, but we don't see it getting on the camera lens of John Hunter's camera. See Daniel Hemrick trying to get by. Hermie, what's going on with that 33?
Phil, the crew is not completely sure. I walked down, spoke to crew chief Shane Huffman. He does not really know yet what the issue is. Obviously hoping for another caution quickly to get this truck down pit road to double check, but right now Shane Huffman, no clue where that smoke is coming from.
What they're hoping to be is not the caution, the way that thing is smoking. Crafton leading, Sauter right behind him. Custer coming in after that with Jones closing in 4th.
I think we've proven that Junior Joyner was right. He didn't really necessarily need tires. Now fuel may be another issue if we go a long green flag run here.
Here's a look at Junior. Problems on the racetrack. The 51 is in the wall. Matt tipped. And Junior might have got his break.
Well, we've got 69 laps to go. We don't think anybody can go that far, so he's probably going to come in now, and he probably will lose track position. The rest of the guys may stay out.
Tiff was running in 12th. The other one who needed this was in 33 of Jones.
See, Matt Tiff drives down to the inside of Cameron Haley, just like the situation we saw earlier.
Got up on the rumble strips there.
Well, Cameron Haley did not know that he was in there. You know, that's one of those things that you can outbrake the guy getting down in there, and if the spotters don't tell you fast enough, or you don't feel him fast enough, or see him down there, you're going to come down in the groove into the bottom where you have been running, and that's exactly what happened.
And remember, the spotters are about right here where we are, and then it's way, way down there as they enter turn number 1, so it's really a bad angle for the spotters to try to tell somebody that somebody's on the inside of them.
And his spotter's Ted Musgrave.
And his spotters, and Ted knows, he certainly knows what he's doing, but it's really challenging to see down there that far, whether you at the exit of turn 3 or the entrance to turn 1. That's the toughest 2 spots on the racetrack.
Really wasn't Teddy's call, though. It was the guy on the outside. The spotter for the outside guy has to let him know that there's somebody under him or somebody trying to get under him.
Looking inside.
Looking inside is the common term that we talk about. What a shame. Matt was doing a good job. He was learning. He was staying out of trouble, keeping the truck clean.
Pit road's still closed right now. 33 still smoking, even at this reduced pace. This caution will give them an opportunity to open the hood and look at that.
You know who we haven't talked about with this stop, though, is Sauter. Pit stops have been his vulnerable spot tonight. He did pit under that last caution. What do you do with that truck?
I think you stay on the racetrack right now. They've only run 11 laps and probably just about 8 green flag laps. Matt Crafton proved that the tires are going to be pretty good. There's not going to be much of a fall off. So I think we stay on the racetrack till we get in our window.
You stay on the racetrack. You got, like you say, fresh tires. You got fuel. The guy that's going to lose in this is Matt Crafton. He's going to lose track position to all these trucks.
We got to remember who Matt Crafton is now. But the fuel mileage king in this truck series, we talk about the pit window being 60 to 65 laps. We only have 67 laps to go right now. As he comes to pit road, there's going to be 66 laps to go. We know we're going to couple 3 more caution laps. I'm not sure that Matt Crafton might not be able to stretch this to the end without stopping again. And we know everybody else has to stop.
So here we all thought Junior made a crazy call, and he might have made a crazy, brilliant call.
Exactly.
All right, Hermie, here he comes.
We're out to 33 of Brandon Jones coming down pit road. This will be more of an exploratory pit stop, at least first time in his pit box, trying to diagnose where this smoke is coming from. They're going to look under the truck and under the hood to see if they can diagnose the problem. Then they'll come back to get some tires. Caitlin.
Tyler Reddick missed the shifter on that last restart. That's why he shuffled back in position, and he's been struggling with a tight truck all night long. So they've elected to come down pit road, change left side tires. Also, Matt Crafton, he is down on pit road as well. They're going to be doing a 4-tire stop and air pressure change as well.
The only danger right now for Matt Crafton is he's going to be back in a lot of traffic, too. A lot of things can happen out there, Ralph.
And we saw it got a little sketchy for Eric Jones on that last restart. We'll see how this one plays out. Well, the lights are off on the pace car here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Madison, Illinois, as our live coverage is brought to you by Golden Corral here tonight.
See that yellow car, Matt Crafton, yellow truck, excuse me, Matt Crafton will restart in the 13th position. He has to keep his, we know, or at least we feel like that he's good to go to the end on fuel, providing we don't get a bunch of green and white checkers. And we had 4 green and white checkers here back in 2004, but he's got a lot of traffic to deal with up here, with a lot of fast trucks.
Ray Black Jr. in the 07 will get the free pass. Saw Crafton shut the fuel off too.
Yeah, while a commercial break, we were watching his onboard. He was saving fuel, and again, he hasn't been back this far. Certainly, he hasn't been farther back than about 2nd, has he?
No. 3rd, I think, on the opening lap was as far as he's been. Pace car is off. Ready to go back to green here at Gateway.
See Tyler Reddick jump to the inside. That was Austin Terrio, the 29, jumped to the inside. I forgot Tyler Reddick came down pit road as well this caution flag.
Cole Custer spun his tires on the start, allowing Johnny to get out front. Oh, Cole run right around the back outside of him.
Yes, he did. And Jones and John Hunter Nemechek come along, and Custer pulls past on the outside.
Boy, Johnny really checked up as they got down in turn 3 there for a moment. Cole Custer just flew by him.
Yeah, and it looked like Sauter got loose coming off at turn number 4. Meanwhile, you can see Crafton about 10 spots back.
Eric Jones pushed up, gave John Hunter a little bit of a run underneath him.
Crafton listed in 13th. Here he comes in that bright yellow Menards 88.
There's John Hunter, pulls to the inside of Eric Jones like you were talking about, Todd. Eric's fighting back on the outside, though.
Very impressed that the outside groove is there that strong. I mean, that's to be able to run out there like that. Pretty impressive.
How about 17-year-old Cole Custer out here leading? Remember, he had the pole here last year. Actually ran out of fuel, lost a lap, got a free pass and a wave around, and made his way back up to 6th.
Won the pole, finished 6th here a year ago. And Crafton, we talked about him being stuck back in the pack. He's having to fight his way through.
We talked about that clean air track position, lack of clean air. See Spencer Gallagher fight back. Matt Crafton was completely up beside him. Spencer Gallagher fought back on the outside, got back in front of Matt Crafton.
Look out!
Sideways.
Boy, Gallagher really battling to keep the 23 underneath him. Crafton's going to slide up to the inside here, trying to dispense him quickly.
Spencer gave him no room down here last time. Matt completes the pass so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Guys, remember, Tyler Reddick came in, put 2 tires on, where he's all the way up to the 5th spot, pitted the same lap that Matt Crafton did. Matt right now is back on the 12th spot, fighting for 11th with Daniel Hemrick. Tyler Reddick all the way up to 5th.
Looks like he's going to clear him. He does. And that means Timothy Peters should be next.
Terrio's coming to pit road.
Yep. 29. Pass-through penalty we're hearing on the 29.
Getting out of line before. You got to remain in your line till you get to the start-finish line. Look at that 29. You see him move down to the inside before he got to the start-finish line. That's what that penalty's for.
Missed it by just about a second, too, if you'd hung in there just a little bit longer. Meanwhile, here's Sauter trying to put the pressure on Custer in the battle for the lead here at Gateway.
Cole Custer has that clean air. Johnny Sauter may have a faster truck right now, but he's dealing with the dirty air. Cole Custer out there in front.
Joey Shear obviously made some big adjustments on Cole's truck. Whoa, that's close. That's one of those Johnny wanted to put it in there. The veteran in him told him he better not.
Yeah, we've got 57 laps to go. If it was 7 laps to go, Johnny may have driven it down in there.
Yeah, Cole would have been moved out of the way at that point.
Cole's leaving about 2/3 of a lane open.
Look at the outside there.
Eric
Here
Jones.
he comes. Jones around the outside. Easily gets around Sauter and sets his sights on Custer.
Eric Jones may do the exact same thing to Cole Custer. May try to use that outside here to get around him. Looks like he's going.
John Hunter Nemechek as well in this group. 4 out of the top 5 teenagers. Sauter, the aged veteran at some 37 years of age.
Johnny's going to fight back on the inside.
Eric got a little too high that time. You could see him going down the back straightaway. He getting in the corner. He was setting Cole up for an outside pass. Cole run up a little higher. Eric got behind him, got a little arrow push and put him up in that 3rd group.
Up high, too. Up really high right now.
Yes.
Opens that bottom for Sauter. See John Hunter Nemechek, that 8 truck hanging in there as well.
Outside working for Jones as he goes into 3. And then Sauter starts to pull past again. And And the drive off of 4 really works for Jones.
What a great battle right here for the second spot.
That lap right there, it looked like Eric drove it up there on purpose. That's as high as I've ever seen anybody run through 3 and 4.
He's trying to work in that high groove there. Trying to get a good run through the center, but he doesn't have the momentum off the corner to stay with him.
Meanwhile, while these 3 squabble over second place, Custer continues to lead with Reddick closing in from 5th. New leader here at Gateway. We've had 6 lead changes. 4 different drivers have been at the point at one time or another. And now it's Eric Jones back out front with 48 to go. Here's how he got it done. To the outside on Custer.
Yeah, we saw him make the pass for second on Johnny Sauter on the outside. Looked like he took several laps setting Cole up to try to get that outside groove working, and he certainly made it happen. Now he's opened up a good bit. And meanwhile, Cole Custer's lost the second spot to Johnny Sauter.
78 laps led. He's back out front. And there he is. That bright yellow 88 has worked his way from about 14th position back to 5th with 47 to go, and we're pretty sure he can go all the way.
Yeah, and he's on the move too. We're hearing that Eric Jones is about 13 laps short, which we know that everybody that pitted on lap number 82 should not be able to make it. Now we feel like Matt Crafton, who pitted on lap number 94, probably can make it. And he may just drive up to the front anyway.
He's coming right after John Hunter Nemechek. That's a battle for 4th.
Man, that truck's fast. Remember, 4 tires on that last pit stop for the 88.
And he's putting them to good use too, Caitlin, as he now sizes up the 00 of Custer.
And his crew chief, Junior Joyner, told me before that last pit stop that they could make it. But now, just checking with him, they've made a few more calculations, and they're saying, well, just a maybe right now.
It's a maybe. It's a big maybe.
Big maybe.
I think he can do it. He's going to grab this 3rd spot right here from Cole Custer.
The lap before this is Matt caught Cole Custer. He was 2/10 faster than Eric Jones, leading the race in that clean air.
And I think right now, if he's close and the way Junior Joyner talks, why not just take it easy here? Just back off a little bit. We know that the 2 trucks in front of us are going to have to pit. We know Eric Jones is going to have to pit. We know Johnny Sauter's going to have to pit.
Exactly what I was thinking, Phil. If you're gonna stretch this on fuel, you better keep those tires underneath that thing, because you know the rest of them coming in for fuel are going to take tires. And if they get the...
Here again, it's a good pass, bud. It did look good.
It was good as John Hunter Nemechek moves to 4th.
Jerry's a great cheerleader. But if those other guys come in and they pit and get their 4 tires, if they get the luxury of doing that under a caution, here we go.
The 45 truck of Tommy Regan slowing. That's going to bring out the caution.
That's over in turn 2.
He was running in 23rd. Our 4th caution of the night.
I think if I'm Matt Crafton, Junior Joyner, I stay out. I stay out to keep the lead. I stay out. We don't have that many laps on our tires. We know that the tires are really, really good and they last a long time. Why not stay out, keep that track position? These caution laps are gonna help him make sure that he has enough fuel to get to the end.
We saw on the restart before that Matt didn't take the tires. He ran. He actually pulled away from those guys with tires a little bit. So tires are not that big an issue.
43 to go right now.
I'm not going to question Junior Joyner anymore.
No.
We questioned him when he didn't come in on lap number 82, and then he catches a caution and puts him in a window where only him and maybe another truck could make it the rest of the way. Now this caution changes things, but we'll see what he has in mind.
Pit road will be open next time by.
We are next to mighty Mississippi. He ought to be a riverboat gambler.
Yeah, that's right. I'll push the 45 truck of Reagan in. I
was impressed with Johnny Sauter right there, Phil. He stayed with Eric Jones really well.
All right, Hermie, here they all come. We've got Jones. Crafton is making his way to pit road 2. So they're all coming down this time. Sauter, Jones, Crafton, Nemechek. Here they come, including Custer.
Well, Ralph, John Hunter Nemechek led 53 laps here last year, could not get the victory. They're going to put 4 tires on his truck as well. He's in 4th position. Johnny Sauter will get 4 tires. His truck is 2 free. They're going to snug him up a little bit with air pressure. Caitlin.
Well, Eric Jones is coming down pit road now, and I heard him tell his team he's pretty happy with this truck. They don't want to change too much, but it is still too tight, so they're going to make a 4-tire stop for that 4 machine.
Matt Crafton's going for 4 tires as well. Looks like Matt's going to win the battle off of pit road. He's going to have that track position anyway, Todd.
He's getting the track position and 4 fresh tires.
See Spencer Gallagher up 9 positions with a 2-tire change.
I mean, that doesn't go any better, right?
It really doesn't.
4 fresh tires, a little bit of fuel, and I get the lead. I'll take it all day long. Back here at Gateway Motorsports Park, and Matt Crafton has played his pit strategy perfectly here tonight. Johnny Sauter, however, it's gone the wrong way. He's fallen all the way back to 11th after that pit stop.
Clear all the way. Nice job.
Very good job, boys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, that's why you have the good pit crews and
you have confidence in them.
Confidence in them. You know, Junior, we talked about maybe staying out, having the tires and the fuel to go the whole way, but
because we wanted the track position.
We want a track position.
But he got it anyway.
Junior Joyner putting the pressure on his pit crew and having the confidence in him, and they paid off. It paid off for him.
And you know what? They probably could have stayed out too, because I believe they have the confidence in their driver too, and he delivers as well.
Yeah, I think either way they were.
Yeah,
in
they were
good
good either way.
Yep.
On the other hand, the 98, as we talked about, Sauter fell all the way back to 11th. He was 2nd when he hit pit road.
Yeah, it's going to really put a lot of pressure. There's Doug George on the left, put a lot of pressure on Johnny to try to make up some of these spots. We're going to have 37 laps to go when we restart this race.
That just shows you how competitive pit road is.
It's critical.
You cannot have a mistake.
Absolutely critical. And you sit there and you look at Jones too. He's back to 3rd. He's been a very, very fast race truck all night. And as you mentioned earlier, Todd, he's proven time and again this year that fastest truck doesn't necessarily mean it's the winner.
This is going to be interesting because Spencer Gallagher's in front of him on 2 tires on this restart.
You see Matt Crafton took the outside, so it puts Eric Jones behind Spencer Gallagher. He would love to see Eric Jones get hung behind Spencer Gallagher for a while.
Yep, and he's got Tyler Reddick in the blue 19 on the outside of him as well. Well, there goes the pace car. Here we go. 38 laps remaining here at Gateway. Crafton leads him off of 4. There's the green and we're racing.
Look at him fan out here. Is that Cole Custer jumping to the inside, following Nemechek? That's Eric Jones on the inside, that Ford truck.
Custer right behind him in the 0-0.
Still at 8. Pete is watching him, 1 back.
There's John Hunter on the outside of Cole Custer. There's Timothy Peters, who Cole got a little bit loose.
Yes, he did. Cole Custer in that 0-0. Working it hard, trying to hang in there with John Hunter Nemechek.
Best possible scenario right now for Matt Crafton is Eric Jones stuck in 4th behind 2 other trucks. Eric's going straight to the top right away to try to get by Reddick.
Spencer
Jones trying to get through the grass to get around him. finally Reddick has to move up, and Jones clears him.
Well, that's a little bit absurd that you're going to block that much on the backstretch there. So Eric was a little bit perturbed there, and I don't blame him.
He had.
Here it is. He just kept digging.
Tyler Reddick's really lucky that Eric just didn't shove him down in the corner.
And now John Hunter Nemechek will try to find a way around Reddick's 19.
When somebody's got
inside by fender. Inside. Close right there. Inside.
Custer now comes inside of him.
Great battle with a couple teenagers here. See, that's different. John Hunter pulled over to try to side draft. That's a lot different than what we saw Tyler Reddick do the whole width of the backstretch.
Custer moves by and into fifth.
Well, there's times where you have to concede that somebody has the spot on you. And in Tyler's case right there, Eric had to run. You just got to realize, hey, sometimes I'm going to get past and not do something like that and take a chance of wrecking both of you.
How about the job Spencer Gallagher's done here since this restart? You see Eric Jones trying to get inside him, trying to pull alongside, but Spencer Gallagher doing a
right into the wall.
Into the outside wall on the exit of 2.
And here comes Jones. He's got the run he needs to get around Gallagher.
Still there. Right rear corner, still there. Back to you.
Looks like he'll clear him now as we come off of 4. So the battle is on. Crafton and Jones, the two dominant trucks here all night.
Watch
and I think
Gallagher.
Is it Gallagher or Reddick that slaps the wall?
It's Reddick.
It's Reddick. You're right.
It was Reddick.
Reddick smacks the wall, and now he's coming in here to the inside, looking on Gallagher, and then moves back behind him.
Doesn't look like it done any damage to that 19 truck. Still pretty fast. Look at him get on the throttle through the center of the corner.
And what's the gap between Crafton and Jones? 0.7 of a second. Well, Matt Crafton is a back-to-back champion, and he's trying to do something here tonight at the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at Gateway that he's never done before, and that's win back-to-back races. 17 trucks on the lead lap. 4 different leaders, changing that lead 7 times. 26 to go.
Right now we've had 2 dominant trucks from the 2015 season running 1-2. We know they have enough fuel to get to the end. Matt Crafton, the 88, as we see Johnny Sauter get another spot on the Spencer Gallagher truck to 23. That moves Johnny all the way up to the 6th spot. Remember, he restarted 11th. He's passed 5 trucks.
I think Johnny's on a little bit of a mission here.
Yeah, I would think so.
He's got a really good truck. He's had a good truck the whole race. To have that bad pit stop, get back there, just what a shame. But he's definitely marching forward.
What he needs now is a caution flag. He's gained 5 spots since the last restart. Let's get a caution, bunch us back up so Johnny's got another shot at him. But right now we have a great battle shaping up for the lead. Matt Crafton has it by 0.6 of a second over Eric Jones. There it is right there. But what, 4 truck lengths? See Eric Jones moving around the racetrack, trying to find a little bit more grip, just trying to inch in on that 88. He gained 1/10 of a second that last lap. About 1/2 a second behind now, guys.
Todd, we've talked about it all season long with Eric Jones because he's been in this position time and time again this year where he has a great shot at winning a race and somehow it slips from his grasp. He has to be wondering, as he's had such a dominant truck, how am I going to not win this one? How do you keep that out of your mind when you're going through a season like that?
Well, at this point right here, he's just concentrating on getting Matt. He's watching what's going on. He knows they're pretty comparable trucks. He's not thinking about that. Now, if he gets in front of Matt, that's something else. Then he's going to start hearing gremlins and wondering what's going to happen. But We have a great race here. He's a little faster than Matt. He's knocking it down a little bit every time.
If you've tuned in to see the FIFA Under-20 World Cup quarterfinals, the USA versus Serbia, we will take you there as soon as this race is over. Or if you really want to see it right now, it is airing over on Fox Sports 2. Now, this is shaping up to be a great finish here. Probably don't want to miss this either.
Yeah, 22 laps to go. There's Timothy Peters, Daniel Hemrick having a great race, both racing inside the top 10. That's a battle for the 8th spot. Daniel Hemrick continues his run of good runs going. Had a third-place finish going last week until he cut a tire late. But Timothy Peters has really been better Hermied later in this race than he was early on.
Yeah, the 17 right now fighting to hold on his position. Daniel Hemrick getting by on the inside, as well as the 33 of Brandon Jones putting some pressure on Timothy Peters. But we talked before the show, this team really needs a solid run tonight. They've had some tough luck. Not used to seeing the 17 struggle like this, but right now he is struggling at the worst time of the race, only coming to 20 laps to go. 17 maybe could use one more caution. Matt Crafton, on the other hand, does not want to see that.
Well, it's our Camping World 20 to go, and it's Crafton out in front of Jones, with Reddick about 3 seconds back behind them.
And Matt was about a 1/10 and a half faster that last lap. It seems like once Eric gets to about 3/10 of a second behind, then he may get a little bit of an arrow push and not able to gain anymore on Matt Crafton.
These corner speeds are up there, Phil. You get up tight on somebody, you're going to pick up that arrow push. And we saw it. It was 3/10, and now it's back to 5.
Back and forth they go. Crafton and Jones, the fight for the win when we return. Well, we wondered, as I'm sure Eric Jones was, what could possibly go wrong on another night where he had a dominant truck. And we found out as we have our 5th caution of the night. We'll take it to the replay and watch the Ford truck as it gets inside of Ellis on the 1.
A little bit of a wiggle right here. It gets loose, and that puts him up the hill a little bit right against that one truck. We see the trucks on the inside all the time when they're that close, lose the air off that rear spoiler, and around he goes.
Yeah, that was, he was upset with the one truck, and it wasn't that guy's fault. It was not his fault. Eric had that wiggle, and that's what moved him up. Eric had the right line. He was going to have plenty of room between himself and the 1, but when he had that little wiggle, right there it is, that put him right up against him. There's nothing you can do. It's going to suck you around at that point.
That's just a frustration for Eric of having such a good truck so often this season, and again, another one gets ripped out from underneath him.
Race it for the win, and Lamco's going to screw it up.
I mean, that's all it is, right? I mean, it's just all that frustration of the season boiling over. And all 4 of the KBM trucks tonight have had issues.
We're hearing now that the battery's dead on that Ford truck. I wonder if that left rear tire maybe ripped the battery box apart there. You see a little bit of damage on that left rear side of that truck.
I'm going to bet you're right, Phil. That's exactly what happened, because there's something sticking out right in front of the left rear tire, and that's right where the battery is at, encased in a steel box. But that tire whipping around, we had both rear tires were flat, and they start coming apart, and it whips around. It can pull that cover off. It can do a lot of damage in there.
It might have tore the cover off the battery box door, and then maybe ripped one of the battery cables off.
Yep.
You can see all the damage. You're right in front, right in front here. Right there is where the battery box is, in front of that left rear tire. It's amazing how you can see that battery box door is damaged, Todd, right in front of that tire.
That's it right there.
Yeah. What a challenging year for Eric Jones. Well, Eric Jones getting a push back around to pit road. Golden Corral presenting our coverage here tonight. Reminder, if you're tuning in looking for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup quarterfinals. It's a match between the USA and Serbia. We will have it for you as soon as this race is over. Otherwise, you can switch over to FS2 right now. It is airing on Fox Sports 2.
I don't understand why the wrecker stopped pushing Eric Jones. He wasn't even near. He's down into pit stall number 1. It has no power right now. The wrecker stopped pushing him, and he's stalled on pit road.
Because it's that kind of year for Eric Jones. That's why. You know what I mean? It just continues to spiral out for him.
Well, that over half this race, 84 laps.
Oh, he has been such a dominant truck this year, and here they come.
Gonna have to push him all the way down to his pit stall.
The battery just came out.
You see the damage when that left rear tire comes apart. It's just thrashing around there. It knocked the battery door and actually probably got a hold of the battery cable and yanked on it and pulled the battery out of the compartment.
Here we are, the 8th race of the year, and it's the 3rd time Jones will lead the most laps but won't win.
Yeah, amazing. That truck could have 4 or 5 wins by now, truthfully.
Very easily.
Okay, Caitlin, finally, he's making his way to his pit stall.
Yes, he is making his way in now. It's such a frustrating turn of events for the sport team and Eric Jones. His crew chief, Rudy Fugel, said we'll take 4 tires here, trying to keep Eric calm, but it has definitely been a disappointing evening for Eric.
You can see when you take this left rear tire off, just look in front, they've already taken the battery box door off. Now they're reaching in there. I'm sure it probably severed one of the cables. Normally they have those cables go into a plug, and it's a quick connect plug, so it doesn't take that long. We saw these guys change 3 batteries last week at Texas for different issues. He had an alternator go bad, so it was killing the battery. This time it actually jerked the battery cables loose, I would assume, from that battery.
What a year for Eric Jones.
Right now
let's go back and take a look at last week, as you were talking about, Phil. Numerous issues in basically the same area.
Yeah, the alternator went bad and then killed the battery, so they had to put a new battery in it. They took the battery out the first time, and then they didn't have a replacement right then. They ended up losing a lap, and then they had to come back and kill the next battery. 3 times they had to put batteries in that truck. He finishes 15th.
Meanwhile, the laps continue to just tick down under yellow, with Crafton out in front with Reddick, Custer, Nemechek, Sauter, all in the top 5.
Matt Crafton's going to take the outside, put Tyler Reddick down on the inside. Matt is the control truck. He is in control of this restart. He goes when he wants to go, as long as he's within the zone, the restart zone.
And here we go, ready to go back to green with Jones on pit road.
Reddick's going to drive it hard down in the corner. Matt's got to give him a little bit of room.
Oh boy, Reddick is pushing him hard, and we've seen him really run some guys tough tonight. What will they do as they make their way down the backstretch? Reddick is right there with him. In fact, he's got a nose on him.
Clear.
He had some help.
Oh, Nemechek gets into Crafton, and Reddick is going to pull away, and the caution is out again.
Unbelievable. They're 2 dominant trucks in this race. Between them, they've led 133 laps, and neither one of them is going to win this race.
Crafton cuts down immediately to pit road. We knew it was going to be an aggressive restart, but it has been Tyler Reddick who is running the restart so rough earlier.
We've seen the outside groove on the restart be the fastest way, and right there, Tyler Reddick got a great run through the middle of the corner and great forward drive, and he just pulled in front of Matt. And I would have never bet that was going to happen.
Caitlin.
Well, this 88 machine has damage on the right front and right rear that the team is trying to repair at this time. Also changing the tires on this 88 machine as well. A frustrating turn of events for Matt Crafton and this 88 team.
And don't forget, this will have a huge impact on the points because Reddick was second in the points coming into the night, and he moves it within single-digit number right now the way they're running.
And oh, by the way, he's leading this race here with inside 10 laps to go.
That's right. Reddick, a two-time winner this year. And here's what happened as they went into 3.
See, John Hunter just drove it down in the corner, got a little bit loose, had to use a little bit of racetrack to catch it, and Matt was right there. Matt didn't crowd him, just a situation where John Hunter got a little bit loose. Tyler Reddick had already got in front of Matt Crafton. Man, what a tough break for Matt Crafton. There's the contact again right there.
And Custer and Sauter come through this. Sauter now up to 3rd after having that horrendous pit stop earlier.
And how about Spencer Gallagher in 4th right now? Watch this.
That's from Nemechek's view. Now Crafton. Remember, John Hunter Nemechek was on the opposite view of that very same situation here just a year ago.
You just feel so bad, but really for Eric Jones and for Matt Crafton, you know, Eric really had a little bit more to do with his situation than Matt did. Matt was just along for the ride. He had lost the lead to Tyler Reddick inside of 10 laps to go, and then gets taken out.
8 laps remaining right now. What a finish we're expecting here at Gateway. Well, it was a long, soggy afternoon here at Gateway Motorsports Park, just across the river from St. Louis. But boy, it is shaping up to be a wild finish. Now, John Hunter Nemechek thought he got tapped by the 0-0 that sent him into Matt Crafton. As you can see from the video, not so much.
Yeah, that was a front bumper cam from Cole Custer's number 00. He wasn't really anywhere near the 8 of John Hunter. John Hunter just went down in there, got a little bit loose.
Yeah, you know, I'm not really sure what happened, because normally when you get loose like that, it's because you drive it in too deep and you get it over on the front tires and the back gets around. But it didn't look like that, so I don't know. Maybe his truck has been free on entry and just got out from under him.
Yeah, he's currently in 5th right now.
Coming down to 5 laps to go when we restart this race.
Reddick, Custer, Sauter, Gallagher, and Nemechek, the top 5. Here we go. What a day it has been at Gateway, and it is shaping up to be a wild finish. Back to green one more time.
See, problems for Reddick.
Reddick missed
For the
a shot.
second time he's had that tonight.
And it's going to cost him the race this time.
And it's Custer who jumps out to the lead. And Gallagher's in 2nd. Sauter's in 3rd. And here comes Nemechek from 4th.
Don't look in your mirror. I'll tell you everything that's going on behind you.
That's spotter Eddie DeHunt said, don't worry about that mirror. I'll look out for the guys behind you.
And Cameron Haley's in the mix as well in the 13 truck.
How about the second place running Spencer Gallagher?
Here they all come across the line with 4 to go.
Side by side for 4th. John Hunter Nemechek on the inside of Cameron Haley. They make a little bit of contact.
But he gets through. And Nemechek is running in 4th. Can he close in and make a bid for the win?
Reddick on the outside trying to get some of them spots back.
They'll be a little too late, looks like.
Reddick sees a golden opportunity to close in this championship hunt.
Here's Reddick trying to get to the inside of Ben Kennedy. Here's the restart. Watch the 19. He doesn't go. The 2-3 shift. Johnny Sauter, unbelievable reflexes to avoid the 19.
Talk about anticipation and making the right move. Great bit of driving by Johnny Sauter here.
There's Timothy Peters right now in the 6th spot with almost just over 2 laps to go. Tyler Reddick all the way back to the 7th position.
And every spot Reddick can get can help him close that gap on Crafton, who is sitting on pit road in that championship fight. There he is to the right side of the screen. Peters runs him way wide.
Inside.
And coming through Louis Kennedy, who will split the two of them. Now Reddick diving to the bottom with 2 to go.
See, Johnny Sauter's trying to get by Spencer Gallagher. What a great job by Spencer Gallagher, that GMS racing team, running second right now.
Incredible job holding Johnny Sauter off as a challenge. One more lap. We'll see if he can hold him off.
Cole Custer one more time around here at Gateway.
Johnny's going to try to work to the inside of Spencer Gallagher in that battle for second.
Here he comes, off of 2. Sauter, who was buried all the way back in about 12th, has fought his way up in a fight for second. Can't get it done. Here comes Custer. Off at turn number 4.
Work, guys. Nice
His
job,
first
Cole.
win of 2015 for Cole Custer.
Oh, yes.
As they all come to the line to close it out.
Good job, Cole. Eddie, you did a great job. Thank you, guys.
Custer picks up his second win in his 12th race. The 14th different winner in the 15 events here at Gateway.
Remember, that's the second time that 00 has gone to victory lane this year, and went to victory lane with Casey Kane at Charlotte.
And who would have thought, the way the 88 had been running today, that it would finish this race on pit road in 21st position with Eric Jones in 23rd.
That's why we run the entire distance in these races. We don't know. Now, obviously, the 2 best trucks were Eric Jones and Matt Crafton, but with the 00 is going to victory lane.
I said at the top of the show, not always the fastest truck wins the race.
What a great job by that young man right there. His second win at the age of 17 years old.
Struggled the whole first run with this truck. Very loose, didn't overdrive it, kept it under him. Joey Shear's crew chief made some great adjustments, got the truck better, put themselves in a position to be here.
His crew's loving it, aren't they?
Burning it down.
Eating the hides and wearing them out. What a run for Cole Custer here tonight. Now he'll take whatever's left of those rear tires on his way to victory lane.
Cole's other win was at Loudon, New Hampshire, a 1-mile track, very similar to this. Long straightaways, flat corners. Kid really likes these racetracks.
He's going to use it up a little bit more. Third race won by a teenager this year. Well, Hermie Spencer Gallagher gave him a great run and ended up finishing second.
Career best finish for Spencer Gallagher. He had a third at Talladega, second tonight. How did it feel to be chasing down that 00, seeing victory that close in front of your front windshield with those last 3 or 4 laps?
Man alive, Hermie, that was as much of a ride as it looked like. Want to congratulate the 00 Cole Custer first off for that win. It was a hell of a drive he put on. Appreciate the 98 letting us make it through that last corner, but started out a little further back than we'd like to today, but kept working on this Legion Travel Chevy, and my GMS guys got me in the right track position, got me in the right place to make the right move, and brought it home P2, man, come on!
That's Spencer Gallagher, a happy P2 at Gateway.
Well, here's our Ram Guts and Glory. And boy, that restart was sketchy as Reddick for the second time tonight misses a shift. They scatter behind him. Cole Custer takes advantage of it and takes the win. A pole here a year ago, a win here tonight. It's a good track for Cole Custer.
Yeah, going to be a lot more wins in that young man's future, but a nice job by his entire team. He had him on the front row for that restart, and that's what allowed him to take advantage of that missed shift by Tyler Reddick.
John Hunter Nemechek had a wild ride at the finish of this one, Hermie.
Yeah, up and down night for the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek. You come home 4th, but before we discuss that, some contact with the 88 in turn 3. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't seen a replay yet. I don't know if somebody got in the back of me or not, but all of a sudden it started turning around, and I went to go correct it, and I accidentally got up into him, so I apologize to Matt Crafton, but I can't thank my guys enough here for everything that they've done for me, and yeah, it just got a little bit free right there and corrected, and I got into him, so I apologize to him, but I can't thank Sid and Donna and Malden enough for all their help, and if we wouldn't be here without them right now, so got to thank the AB constructors also for coming on board, and all of our brand ambassadors.
What is it about this racetrack? You led 53 laps last year, came back with another strong run tonight.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think it's one of those racetracks where it's a driver's track. You have to get to the point to where you have to run this place as hard as you can each and every lap, so it's just a driver's track. I like it.
It's John Hunter Nemechek. Let's go to Victory Lane.
Well, in just his third start of the year, Cole Custer finds himself here in Victory Lane at Gateway for Junior Motorsports. Cole, what was going through your mind on that final restart and in those closing laps?
I mean, I was just trying to tell myself no excuses, but I always see the night. I don't know. I think we were a little bit better than 19. We struggled a little bit all day, but I don't know. I'm just tired. I got to thank Haas Automation, Gene Haas, Kale and Kelly for giving me this opportunity, and Hendrick Engines, the pit crew for coming out. It was just, we put everything together. We didn't have the best truck, but we ran a great race.
And before the race, you and I talked about how you've had a fast truck at your other two starts, didn't have the finishes to show for them. Do you feel like this is a turning point for you and this team?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, team already won a race this year with Casey. He drove the wheels off that one at Charlotte. But, I always knew that we had trucks capable of winning. I was just, we just had to put everything together for a race.
Congratulations. Cole Custer gets his first win of the year here at Gateway, guys.
Well, let's look at the points. They are definitely going to close up a little bit here. Tyler Reddick, even after finishing in 8th, still shaves quite a few points off between him and Matt Crafton.
Yeah, how about Johnny Sauter now? We saw him about, 48 points out coming into this race. Gains a bunch here. He's right back in this thing. Eric Jones drops a spot to 4th, 33 out.
I said the only way Johnny's going to be able to get up there in the points is these guys have the problems, and you have to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what they did.
And this stretch run of 4 races back-to-back continues as it moves on to Iowa next week. Well, for Caitlin Vincey, Hermie Sadler, Phil Parsons, Top of 9, I'm Ralph Shaheen. That's it from here on to soccer. Congrats, Cole Custer.